Hi, hello. Today let us discuss about Linux. Okay. Okay, what is Linux and what are the distributions in Linux? Let us see today. Before discussing about Linux and how the Linux is established, we're going to say it now, both theoretically and practically. What the Linux will going to do, what are the advantages and disadvantages, where the Linux is used in day-to-day life. Okay, we'll see in detail. First of all, if you observe here, this is the architecture of Linux. Okay, there will be a hardware components, kernel, shell, application. Okay, we will see one by one now. First of all, if you talk about Linux, Linux is an operating system or a kernel distributed under an open source license. Its functionality list is quite like Unix. Its functions will be similar to Unix. It is the older version. Based on the Unix only, the Linux is introduced, and it is developed in the C language. They have used the programming language as C language to develop the Linux platform. The kernel is a program at the heart of the Linux operating system that take care of fundamental stuff like letting hardware communicate with the software. Okay, the kernel will work as heart to the Linux operating system. This kernel will act as a heart to the operating system. There are hardware components, kernel, shell, applications. If you talk about kernel is the interaction between the application layer and the hardware process. Okay, we'll move into next slide. We can't tell that entire Linux in one video because Linux is very huge programming, very huge code, very huge data. We can't tell it in one single class. Why do we need an operating system? Every time you switch on your computer, you will see a screen where you can perform different activities like write, browse the internet, or watch a video. See, now I am performing some tasks here. I have opened my PowerPoint presentation and I'm taking some class regarding this Linux platform operating system. But the screen which you are seeing on my display is all operating by operating system, running using operating system. What it makes the computer hardware work like that? How does the processor on your computer know that you are asking it to run an MP3? We will be running an application. We will be running some. We'll be playing some music. How it going to work? Well, it is operating system or kernel which does this work. The work which will be performed using this operating system itself. So to work on your computer, you need to an operating system. In fact, you are using one as you read this on a computer. Now you may have used popular OSs like Windows apart from Apple OS X, but here we will learn introduction to Linux operating system. Linux overview and what benefits it offer over other OS choices. You're going to see in step by step. Okay, there are other operating systems like Windows and Mac, but apart from them, Linux is the very famous one to run an operating system because it's no need any storage, or it is very good for security. It will be launched using virtual machines. Okay, and who originally created this Linux? When was the Linux is created? Evaluation of Linux. So Linux devised a kernel named Linux in 1991. Through you would need programs like file manager, document editor, audio, video programs to run on it. Something as you have cone but no ice cream on top. The same way, as time passed by, he collaborated with other programmers in places like MIT and applications for Linux started to appear. So around 1981, a working Linux operating system with some applications were officially launched, and this was the start of one of the most loved and open source operating system options available today. Okay, this is very famous. Linux is using very mostly nowadays. And what are the various features of Linux? These are some features of Linux. Why you going to use Linux means these are the very important features. Open source. As we discussed that it is open source. Its source code is easily available. Anyone having programming knowledge can customize the operating system One can contribute, modify, distribute, and enhance the code for any purpose. Okay, this is the main advantage of using Linux feature, open source, and security. It is highly secure. The virus is not executed until administrator provides the access password. Linux system do not require any antivirus program. It is not completely safe, but it is less vulnerable than others. Okay, I can't tell that it won't affected by virus, but it is not vulnerable as when compared to other operating systems. Okay, on theory, certainly, the biggest advantage of using this Linux system is that it is free to use. That is why we have discussed that it is an open source store and very famous one. Why they are people users are using very lot means it is free to use and it will be easily available on the over the internet. Okay, we can easily download it and there is no need to buy license for it. Okay, like a Windows, we have to buy storage and we have to do some tasks. Okay, on premises means, but here we should not, we go and into any cloud or we're going to launch some virtual machines and we're going to use it for various types. What are the we're going to see in theoretically, both theoretically and practically, how we're going to use it. Comparatively, we have to pay use amount for the license of other operating system. That's what we have discussed. General public license. We don't need any general public license for the operating this Linux. And these are some other features. This is light in weight, stability, performance, flexibility. See, we have already discussed that Linux is lightweight. The requirement for running Linux are much lesser than other operating systems like Windows or Mac. In Linux, the memory footprint and disk space are also lower when compared to other operating systems. Stability. Linux is more stable than other operating systems. Linux does not require to reboot the system to maintain performance levels. It rarely hangs up or slow down. It has a big uptimes. Okay, it has the higher stability. Okay, performance. See, Linux system provides high performance over different networks. It is capable to handle a large number of users simultaneously. Even though we can use number of, if there is a high traffic also, it won't affect on the performance of the operating system. Flexibility. Flexibility means it also provides restrictions or options for specific computers. Right. Linux operating system is very flexible. It can be used for desktop application, embedded systems, server applications too, and we can install only necessary components for a system. Okay, what are the necessary things? Then only we're going to download it, install it. Software updates in Linux. In Linux, the software updates are user control. It will be controlled by user. We can select the required updates. Only the things which we have to update means we can select it, and those things only will be updated. There is a large number of system updates are available. These updates are much faster than other operating systems. So system updates can be installed easily without facing any issue. Distributions and distros. There are many Linux distributions available in the market. As we have seen in the starting page itself, that what are the distributions available in Linux, like Fedora, Red Hat, Debian, CentOS, etc., etc. Among all them, Debian is very famously and mostly used because it is also used, but for best practice purposes, we're going to use Debian. We'll see in AWS account. Okay, what are the distributions of Linux we're going to use here, and many more. For beginners, Ubuntu and Linux Mint would be useful, right? I have told that Debian is very mostly used. Here also we have mentioned that we can choose any distro according to our needs. Okay, based on the requirement, we're going to use the distributions of Linux. Some of popular distributions like Ubuntu, Fedora, Debian, Linux, but among all, for the beginners and for best practice, Ubuntu and Linux Mint. In Linux, we're going to use as EC2. For Ubuntu, we're going to use Debian and Fedora would be good choices for proficient programmers. Live CD and USB. Almost all Linux distributions have a live CD and USB options. Okay, almost all like Fedora, whatever may be the distribution, Fedora, Debian, CentOS, Ubuntu, Amazon Linux, whatever it may be, all have the distributions have live CD and USB option. It allows us to try to run a Linux operating system without installing it. Okay, we don't need to install it. Or here are some interfaces like a graphical user interface, Linux inline command based on OS, but it provides an interactive user interface like Windows. Okay, graphical user interface. Suitable for programmers, it provides almost all you almost used programming languages such as C, C++, Java, Python, Ruby, and more. In all programming languages, it can support. Okay, Linux can support all programming languages. Further, it offers a vast range of useful application for development. The programmer preferred the Linux terminal over the Windows command line. The package manager on Linux system helps the programmers to understand how things are done. Bash scripting is also a functional feature for the programming. Okay, we're going to use both shell scripts, bash script. Among one of the famous script in shell scripting is bash. Okay, mostly using this. It also provides support for SSH, which helps in managing the servers quickly to establish the connection between the client and server. We are going to see it in practically also. I have made on a video for establishing the connection between client and server using the SSH key itself. If you want, you can watch it there. Okay, community support. Linux provides a large community support. We can find support from various sources. Okay, there will be for the development for various open source communities like Ready to help us. There are many community support. Linux provides large amount community support. And if you talk about privacy, networking, compatibility, installation, privacy, take care of, yeah, we already this it is a highly secure. The users has never takes as much private data from user comparatively other operating system ask for the user's private data. It won't ask our private data. It will going to ask only minimum data that are required for registration. Okay, networking. Linux facilities with powerful support for networking. The client and server system can easily set to Linux system. It provides various command line tools such as SSH, IP, mail, talent, tasks such as network backup and much faster other than other operating systems. And compatibility, it is a compact with larger number of file formats that it supports almost all file formats, whatever may be the file format, JPG, MP3, MP4, what may be the file format, they have the capability, okay, to support all the formats. Installation. Linux installation process is less time than other operating system such as Windows, Mac. Further, it installation process is easy and it requires lesser space, lesser user input when compared to other operating systems like Windows, Mac. Moving furtherly, it is very used topic to discuss about Linux. I am telling you only in a basic level, the theoretically and practically, but Linux is very big topic to deal with. Okay. Okay, if you talk about multiple desktop support, Linux system provides multiple desktop environment support for its enhanced use. The desktop environment option can be selected during installation. We can select any desktop environment such as Go, GNU network object model environment or K desktop environment, as both have their specific environment. Multitasking. Yeah, this is the most important one we have to talk about Linux. Multitasking. It has the capability to do multitask operating system as it runs multiple tasks simultaneously without affecting the system speed. Even though we're going to launch multiple tasks, we're going to run multiple tasks, it won't affect on the speed and we're going to affect on the performance. What is a Linux shell? Shell. The shell can be defined as a command interpreter within an operating system like Linux, GNU, or Unix. It is a program that runs the other programs. The shell facilitates every user of the computer has interface to the Unix system. Hence, the user execute different tools, utilities, or commands with the fewer input data. If you observe in the architecture shell, the shell will be the interaction between the kernel and the application layer. It will act as the interactor between application and kernel. Kernel is nothing but it is the heart of the OS where we're going to have CPU, RAM, hard disk, everything. Okay. Yeah. Sure. Okay, the shell sends the result to the user over the screen when it has completed running program, which is common output device. That is known as command interpreter. Yeah, the shell sends the result to the user when it completes the task. The shell is not just a command interpreter. Also, the shell is a programming language which complete the construction. Yeah, it will going to act as a programming languages also. We're going to see difference between programming languages and shell scripting. Okay, in the next slides, few slides. Functions, variables, loops, condition execution, and many other. For this reason, GNU Unix Linux shell is stronger than the Windows shell. It will be how stronger in Linux when compared to Windows. There will be a high theoretical part. Don't be disturbed. What are the various types of shell? There are various types of shell which are as follows. Bash shell, yeah, bash shell, CSH shell, KSH shell, JSH shell, fish shell. Among these, we're going to commonly using this bash shell. Okay. If you talk about in detail about bash shell both means born again shell. The abbreviation, the expandation of the bash is this born again shell. A default shell over the several distributions of Linux today. It is the default. It has the default. We don't need to install. We don't need to do anything. It reflected practical improvement on SH for an interactive and programming user, which contains. Okay. What is the bash command bash shell we're going to do means it has the capability to control job control, command line editing. It can edit the command line, shell allies and functions, unlimited size and command history. Okay, this is the things what the bash shell we're going to do perform. And we have something called CHS shell. CHS is an upgraded C shell. This shell can be used as a shell script command processor and interactive login shell. CSL includes the following characteristics, which contains C like syntax. It contains the syntax like C language, file name, compilation, programmable word, command line editor, job control, spelling correction. These are the things what this TCHL or CHL will go into perform. Spelling corrections, whatever may be. And KSHL, we have something called KSHL means Console. It was developed and designed by David G. KSL is a high-level programming, powerful and complete programming language, and it is reciprocal command language as well as just like various other GNU, Unix, Linux shells. This usage and syntax of C shell are very same as the C programming language. We have discussed that, right? It will be very similar to C programming language. Your ZSH shell. KJS means for cone cell. It was developed and designed by David. Okay, but yeah, it will also work as same as KSH cell. And here we have something called fish shell. Fish stands for friendly interactive cell. It was produced in 2005. Fish shell was developed to be fully user-friendly and interactive just like other cells. It contains some good features which are mentioned below. Web-based configuration, man-page completion, auto suggestions. It will go into sending auto suggestions to you that way. Where if you are searching for something means the related content will be displaying on the search bar. Okay, in the same way if you are typing some wrong spelling mistake, wrong spelling of some certain word, it's going to give a suggestion this is the correct spelling. Okay, in that way it will going to suggest supports for terms 250 terminal automation completely scripted with the clean scripts. Okay, these are some features. What is shell scripting? There are conventional why, yeah. Shell function scripts are interpreted means that they aren't compiled. They are also condition test like L1 greater than loops permitting use massive data amounts, files to store, read data, and variable to store and read data. These scripts may contain functions. We will see practically also how this shell script will going to work. This is the theoretical part. We can use it to run the data, to save the data, to store the data. Okay, it has that capability to read it. Okay, the shells are usually interactive, which means they receive commands as input through the users. Yeah, we're going to use some commands in the VA editor. We're going to see it in a practically now after this theoretical what is completed. I'm going to show you in a practical way also using by launching an instance. Hence, we have some type of we have to type within the commands all the time inside the terminals. Yeah, inside that's what I have told you recently. I'm going to give some commands. It will going to run inside my terminal. Okay, a shell script includes syntax. Similar, yeah, it's going to be similar to other programming languages when you have premier experience along with programming languages such as C and C++, Python, etc. Whatever may be. It will be very easy to begin with. The shell script combines the below components. Yeah, what are the components? Functions, control flow. If, else, then, shell loop. These are the control flow. Shell commands, touch, echo, ls, cd, etc., etc. We're going to mostly we'll be using the pwd to check the path where we have presently inside my terminal, and echo is used to create files, and ls is to check what are the commands, what are the directories on files we have present inside my home directory. cd is used to get into home directory, whatever may be the directory files. Self keywords, break, if, else, etc. Shell script needed for automating manual tasks, for avoiding repetitive tasks. So yeah, based on the script, what we're going to give in the command line inside our VA editor, it's going to perform. It has the capability for automating manual tasks. It has the capability for avoiding repetitive tasks. It won't perform the task which is already performed. Okay, shell scripting is used by system admins for many routine backups. It has the capability to for many routine backups. It has the capability to backup also, including new functionalities to the shell. System monitoring. Yeah, we know that it's going to monitor the system, what is going to create. Programming language. See, uh, let us talk about programming language. Okay, for suppose the programming language, you all know that programming language like Java, Python, C, C++, it is used to develop the difference between programming language and scripting. That's what I told you previously. We were going to discuss what is the basic difference between scripting language and programming language. Now we're going to see. It is used to develop the business application. Okay, programming language main intention is the developer will going to take one ID, integrated development environment, whatever maybe like Visual Studio, PyCharm, Eclipse. There you're going to perform some sort of tasks. You're going to build, you're going to test, you're going to using whatever maybe the programming language like Java. So Java, you're going to use Java means you're going to use build tool like Maven. If you're going to use Python, you're going to use Gradle for building application. There we're going to write and we're going to test and we're going to perform some tasks. Okay, there. It is where developer write business logic. That's what we have discussed. It includes application development framework like build. That's what I'm telling. Build, compile, test, create artifacts. We using this build tools like Maven, Gradle. We're going to compile, test, create. We're going to test using J1 test cases, test NGR, Selenium automation tool based. And compile. We're going to create artifacts using Maven. If it is the Java based programming language. Okay, these are the programming languages. Mainly we're going to use Java, C, C++, Python. And there are, apart from that, there we have something called .NET, Node.js, JS, etc., used to create application programming software. Okay, if you think about the three-tier application, okay, we are nowadays we are all seeing about mostly three-tier applications only. Three-tier application is nothing but it contains front end, business logic, and back end. The thing which we are seeing in front of when we open any application, whatever maybe Facebook, Instagram, Jenkins, whatever maybe it, if you open it, that it going to ask for to log in into an application. It's going to ask to enter the credentials. Okay, the page which will going to appear on the home page what when we open an application, that is called as front end. It's going to ask for the username and password. Then you're going to give your username and password for it. Then after it is going to analyze the data inside the business logic will interact with database. Backend is nothing but database. Then it will the backend is nothing but database which stores the information, MySQL, Oracle, whatever maybe the database what they have used it. But it going to receive the information whether the username or password is present inside this database. Then it going to revert back to the front end. Okay, then the application will, if the credentials whatever maybe you have given, what what are the mail ID or username or password. If it is correct, it going to analyze it, it going to authorize inside my our database. Then it going to revert back to front end, and it going to be getting login into page. And what we're going to use is and how we're going to use, and it has some features. It have that to save if you have observe any photos, if you observe any videos, I have to share this video, I have to save this video, and I have to save these pics. Or you're going to have some options like we have to edit, we have some visual effects, so we're going to create, and we have going to edit some photos, videos, and all the some certain applications have certain features. Okay, that all features will be written in the programming language. While launching an application, the developer will have written that it should perform in the way how he had written the business logic. It is nothing but programming language, and it going to run how the business logic is written. It is nothing but how the developer has written the program using that programming language only. The set of instructions what he has given, developer has given to the application, that is stored in database, and the business logic will going to perform according to the programming language, according to the what the developer has kept as a set of instructions. Okay, this is where the three-tier application will going to work. Okay, I think I have explained you very well about this three-tier application: front end, application logic, and back end. In back end, all the information or all data will be stored. The business logic will interact with back end, and it will going to it will going to authorize whether the given data is valid or not, and it will revert back to front end, and we're going to perform as our expectation what is the developer has given the set of as a set of instruction to work the application. And here we have talked about scripting language. We have spoken about programming language, scripting language. Scripting language, it is a lightweight entity when compared to programming language. Okay, it is very lightweight. Okay, when compared to programming language, it is lightweight. It is used to create some process of automation. It never run an application. Okay, firstly I'm telling, scripting language is never used to run an application. It only perform some task, some task. Okay, to create some process of automation. It is not for application development. It is also clearly mentioned here. Example, JavaScript, Python script, Shell, ML script, Groovy scripts. Like for ML script, we're going to use in Ansible, and for creating an applications using infrastructure as a code, and we're going to use for deployment, or for deployment object, we're going to use ML script, Groovy script. Grooves are used in CI/CD while performing CI/CD in Jenkins. We're going to use pipelines like scripted pipelines, declarative pipelines, and shell scripts. There are also many type of shell scripts what we have seen some of them just previously. Just programming language scripted, and there are some algorithm, pseudocode, programming script. How the algorithm is a step-by-step process to perform a task. Can be written in high-level language. Okay, pseudocode, it also come like algorithm, but it is not written in high level language. It is based on the specific programming scripting language. It has high level language, but it is not written in high level, but it's going to work based on a specific program, whatever may be the programming language or scripted language, what they are going to give user, or not me, user, what the user going to give. According to that, the pseudocode will going to perform that. Programming or scripting, the actual source code written based on the algorithm should be written by following proper syntax of programming syntax language. Already we have discussed about programming and scripting languages. Yeah. Now we're going to see advantages and disadvantages of shell script. The syntax and command are exactly similar to the enter directly in a command line. Like this, the programming don't have the switch, completely different syntax. Interactive debugging. Okay. Quick start. Okay, it is much quicker to write the shell script, etc. While writing programming language, we have to write some code, but here we just need a shell script. Shell scripting is very easier when compared to programming language, but we never anyway going to implement any application using shell script, right? It is only for short of automation to run some process. And shell script disadvantage: a single error can be modified the command, which could be harmful, so prone to very costly error. If we are automating something which automating, it is a automation process, right? When we have given something wrong, it will be affecting on the program, it will be affecting on the application what we're going to use. That will ultimately lead to very costly man. Okay. Design flaws in language implementation and syntax, slower execution speed. When it is very slow when compared to programming languages. Not well suited for complex and large tasks. It is only for small one. Offer minimal data structure dissimilar to other scripting languages. We can't use for bigger data like in programming language we'll be writing very huge coding, but here we're going to use for smaller one only. Scripting language is used for small tasks, for smaller automations. See, already we have discussed about the distributions. What is Linux distribution or what is types? A typical Linux distribution comprises a Linux kernel, GNU tools, and libraries, additional software documentation, Windows system. The most common being Windows system, or more recently Window Manager and desktop environment. Okay, let it be about the theory. What are the most of the input software and free and open source software made available both as compiled binaries and source code form, allowing modifications to the original software. Why? What are these distributions? What are the Linux distributions? Means Linux distributions are based on the usage. See, what type of data we're going to use, for what purpose we're going to use this Linux operating system. Based on that, we're going to use these distributions. Ubuntu, Fedora, Red Hat, CentOS, Debian. There are so many distributions, but among them, these are the famous one. But for best practice, we're going to use Ubuntu itself. Anyone will going to pay because it's very open source and free. That's why most of the people will be using Ubuntu while practicing for beginners. Okay, and while launching an applications using these containers, we're going to use as a address book application also, like a Debian and CentOS. We're going to use as a address book applications, where we're going to create some containers, and then we're going to create one image and push the data inside this image, and we'll be pushing this from Docker to Docker Hub or Docker registry. There we will going to call as not a Linux distribution. There we will call it as address book applications. Like mostly we'll be using CentOS and Debian for address book application. Package managers in Linux. See, what is this package management? Are executed as root. It should be executed as a root user only. User can't execute it. Okay. There in Linux we're going to manage users. Okay, but as a user, as a specific user, we don't have permissions to install this package managers. Based on the distribution, what we're going to use, we're going to use these commands. Okay, these are the package managers to install in Amazon Linux, CentOS, and RHCL. We're going to use m update install. If you use this command in Amazon Linux or CentOS, it's going to install the required package managers. Okay, and we have already know that Ubuntu, it is the famous one. Apt get install. If you click on -y, it's going to install the packages, required packages. If you use the distributions as Ubuntu, if you use the distribution Linux distribution as a Fedora, you will have to use DNF. And these are the famous and mostly used Linux commands: CLI, and GUI. Okay, CLI is nothing but command line interface, and the GUI is graphical user interface, DevOps level. Linux operating system to work with DevOps tools and users. Okay, file permission, we have to see about it. In DevOps perspective, to work with the DevOps tool and users. These are now, up to now, what we have learned is from general point of view. But if you talk about in DevOps level, in DevOps perspective, the Linux operating system is mainly used to work with DevOps tools and users. Okay, between the users and clients, and between the user and servers. Yeah, it is the somewhat important topic, file formations in Linux. See, if I created some directories is nothing but folder. And inside my folders, I have created some files, and who should read it? Who have the permissions to read, write, and edit it? Okay, Based on that, the system is implemented. Okay, file permissions in Linux. These are three types of users in like file owner, group, and others. Okay, based on the number, what we see, all the three owners in the Linux have three types of permissions defined. Okay, see, read, write, execute. If it has RWX, I'm going to tell you in step by step. The read permission allows you to open and read the content a file, but you can't do any editing or modification. See, that is what R can be used. Right. The write permissions allows you to edit, remove, and rename. For instance, if the file is present in a directory and write permission is set on the file, but not the directory, then you can edit the content of file, but can't remove or rename it. See, in read, we only have the permissions to read it. Okay. In write, you can edit it, but you don't have permissions to remove it. Okay. In execute, we can have the permissions. And you can't run execute anymore unless the execution permission is set. But in Windows, there is no such permissions available. Okay. In Linux, we have that capability. If you provide the user, if the owner has, you provide the permissions to the user who is using, then you can edit it. See how it is going to file permission is going to work. These 10 bits represent the file permission for a file or a directory in a Linux. If it contains first digit, it denotes whether the permissions are related to file or directory. D represents permission belong to directory and F1 represents a file. Okay. If the number is in between second and 2 and 4, it denotes permission for owner. CHOWN. It is used. This is the command used followed by the user. This is the command used to change the ownership. Okay. If I have created some files and directories, and other person want to use it, and he is thinking that you have to become the owner of that, then you have to use this command CHOWN followed by for what purpose he is going to use, whether he is going to using for a only reading purpose or for editing or for remove or do some task. Okay, inside that directories. 5th and 7th bit, it denotes permissions for a group. 8th and 10th bit, it denotes permissions are set for others. Okay. I will show you in practical also this about these file permissions. Conclusion: Linux is an operating system or kernel distributed under an open source license. We have already discussed. Its functionality list is quite like Unix. This is thought of one of the most loved and open source option available today. That's why everyone will be focusing on Linux to secure the data, to store the data, or to perform some tasks. Even though we have some operating systems like Windows and Mac, most probably, mainly organization will be going through Linux operating system. Linux is the best operating nowadays, used because of its reliable, as it runs smoothly, no need to reboot. Okay, repeated and more secure than other OS. Now, what we're going to do is let us see it in a practical way. See, application, kernels, hardware. Hardware is nothing but this. Let me give a brief introduction about architecture. Hardware. The hardware component is nothing but CPU, RAM, memory, and hard disk, whatever may be. And kernel. Kernel is the hot for any OS. Okay. This operating system kernel will be acting as a hot. Just we have hot, right? And it will act as a interface between the hardware components and the application process. And shell. Shell will going to be interactive between the. It will be as a interactive between the kernel and application. And the utility is nothing but the applications. Okay, terminal, printers, disk. Okay, let us see these things, some things in a practical way. Before that, what is this? Do these roles and responsibilities of Linux administration? These are some. Why you going to use this Linux in DevOps perspective, and not only in DevOps perspective. As a Linux administrator, what we're going to do means manage files and directories. We can manage files and directories. Install and manage DevOps tools and services. Manage users. We can manage users. Manage the authentication, authorization, types of authentication. See, there are 4 types of authentication. Authentication is nothing but security purpose. Password-based authentication, token-based authentication, key-based authentication, password-less authentication. These are 4 types of authentication. Manage the remote users. Manage the credentials. Manage the backup and recovery. Shell scripting. These are the things what we're going to do using things Linux operating system. Now let me launch an instance for you and show you in a practical way. Let me open my AWS. I'm opening this AWS. I will launch one instance also for you to show that these Linux distributions. And then after I will go into show one by one for what purpose we are going to use this Linux. Let me launch another instance. I have already launched one instance, but to show the Linux distributions, I'm launching one more instance. Uh, Here I will give it as server. Yeah, it's taking some time. Yeah, I have given it here as a server. See, here if you observe here, application and OS image. OS is nothing operating system, and these are the distributions of virtual. Now EC2 is nothing but elastic cloud computing. In AWS cloud, we'll call virtual machines as EC2. Here I'm trying to launch one virtual machine, but for virtual in Linux operating system, I'm using some Linux distributions. These are the distributions what we have discussed. Mostly Amazon Linux, Mac OS, Ubuntu, Windows, Red Hat, see, Debian. These are the among these. I told you that Ubuntu will be using famously, right? Let me take Ubuntu as Amazon machine image. Come down. And don't always try to take older version because text2 version has some updates. We can't do it that as of now. I'm taking the old version and let it be this as 64-bit silver. Let it keep it as default. Now I am taking here as a one CPU, one memory as it is eligible for free type. I have already created one keypay for launching an instance which I have launched previously. We can keep it for we can give you the same keypay for this instance also. It's not an issue. And here we have something called network settings where we're going to give permissions, traffic. What are the port numbers we have to give for whom or which port number we have to give the permissions to use this terminal using this instance external IP address. Okay, as of now, allow SSH traffic, and if you want to give any particular port number, we can after launching instance in security group we have to go this inside this environment rules. There we're going to give some port numbers. We at which port number we have to use this. Okay, if you are using various types of port numbers for best practice purpose, you can allow all the traffic here over here. And configuration storage, here I have using 8 GB for this instance. Simply launch this. If you want to launch multiple instances at a time, means we can just click here. With the same Linux distribution, it's going to launch multiple instances. Okay, now I am launching an instance. It's taking some time. Meanwhile, I will open Waxstone. Because it is an open source tool to use our instances, nothing but terminals. Let me launch it. See, it started running. Let me launch this instance previously which I launched. Instance state, start. If you want to delete any instance, you can just terminate them by selecting all them. If you terminate it, it's going to uninstall. Okay, let me refresh it. I told you that here if you are going to edit port numbers means security group. Okay. Now obtain public IP address, private IP address. Okay. Let me take this Jenkins master itself. Because here I have installed some DevOps tools. It's taking some time. Don't worry. Meanwhile, let me check whether my mobile external is opened or not. Yeah, still it's opening. Yeah, it's open, not issue. Yeah, it's started running. Let me open this. I have copied this external IP address. Opening is mobile extra. It's taking some time. Meanwhile, I'm going to tell you something. You can connect. You can without using this mobile extra as a terminal for using these instances or machines. You can directly connect from here itself, from this terminal itself. From AWS account yourself, you can directly connect with this terminal instance. But it will be better. I suggest you to use this tool for using this for launching these instances. I have copied the sectional IP address, which is nothing but public IP address. I pasted it here over here. Specify username. Specify username is nothing but the type of the distribution which we have taken. Give it as VUNTU. Ubuntu as the Linux distribution. On advanced settings, here use private key. What we have created. Previously, I created one private key here. Okay. Yeah, it's opening. See, have made one video previously to manage the users and establish the connection between the server and client. Please check it with one. Please check it once. Here we have something called manage users, right? For managing users, manage the remote servers. For that, we're going to get from that video. There I use this passwordless authentication and key-based authentication over there. It's open multiple times. I will close one of them. This is the key what I downloaded. Yeah, click on it, open, and click on OK. It will go into this. Yeah, it will going to open. Accept. Just accept it. Now, after opening, what will you going to do is firstly we have to click on enter. Enter to get into sudo user sudo -i sudo -i. Yeah, now I am a root user. Clear it. Now let me give command like ls. Here we have something called Jenkins, Snap, etc. etc. These are the directories which I created. Let me get into my Jenkins cd Jenkins. If you give command like cd followed by the directory, I will show you. See, now I will going to explain this one step by step. Okay. These are the roles and responsibilities in the DevOps perspective as a Linux administrator. We're going to manage files and directories. See, now I'm going to create some directories and files for you for that purpose. Give command mk followed by dir, and this is the command used to create a directory, and I'm giving this here directory name as g.v.dileep. Yeah. Now if I give command like ls, if you observe here, the directory which I have created just now is present here. If I want to get into inside my that directory, I will give command like cd followed by gv. Yeah. The pointer now inside. I am now inside my g.v.dileep directory. If you want to get out of from it, just give command cd followed by -d. This is way how we have to create directories, and we're going to manage some data. Okay, inside it. Just I showed you how you can create these directories. Now, how we're going to create files inside the directories? We have something called command echo echo followed by give command record one and followed by file names like life dot txt and some files. I'm creating some files, whatever maybe. Now I'll keep it as 2. Yeah, okay. Now see what I going to do. Just I'm going to give command like ls. It will going to list the directories and files what I created. Now what I going to create, going to give command like cat. If you give command cat followed by the file name, it is going to show what are the files present inside it. Okay. Now what I going to do is cat file one file one dot txt. Oh wait. File one. Yeah, okay. Now I created this file. Now I created file name as life, right? And like fp life. Yeah. Oh shit. So for these parameters, give it a c. Yeah. See, inside my file, I have something called record the data. What is present is inside my file name. I have given file as a life one, right? Life1.txt. Inside that file, what I have created, what is the data present? To check that, we have to give command like cat. We have completed this first one. Manage files and directories. Install or manage DevOps tools and services. Okay, see, you can install all type of DevOps tools. Already I have installed some tools. I'm just telling you Jenkins followed by version. See, I have installed the Jenkins version. Jenkins. This is the famous DevOps tool which is used for performing CI/CD pipelines. Nothing but continuous integration, continuous deployment. And I have installed Java also. Java hyphen version. See, I installed Java 11 version. Okay. If you observe, I installed this Python. By default, Python 3 is installed in my terminal. Python 3 followed by hyphen version. If you want to install any, see, this is the command used to install. I told you that there will be some package managers to install packages, right? Package managers, right? Let's come down. Yeah, see, for I usually Ubuntu as a Linux distribution, right? For Ubuntu, I'm using this to install any package manager apt-get install -y. And see, already I have installed the packages. That's why I'm telling that building dependency tree, reading state information done, 0 upgraded, 0 newly installed, 0 to remove, and 13 not upgraded. This is the way we can install the package managers using based on the Linux division what we're going to use. Here I use it as a Debian, Ubuntu, sorry. That's why I use this command apt-get. And if you are using Amazon Linux means I'm going to use this yum update fny. And if I use this Fedora letter means I'm going to use this def. Okay. Now this is the way. See, if I want to use this Java means apt-get install open jdk -11 jre. This is the command used to install OpenJDK 11 version. This is the way we can install. We can install whatever maybe the DevOps tools. Like I have installed, we can install Ansible. And one more thing, to install Jenkins, we should firstly we have to install Java. To install Ansible, we have to install Python. This is the required tools. Okay. Now, I have told you about this third point also. Second point, manage users. Manage users is nothing but to establish the connection to transfer the data from a user to client. It's like from a remote server to remote server. For that, I have made another video to establish the connection between Linux between client and server, and how we can give the permissions to the users. Okay, I made one other video, and I want to show you this authentication authorization remote server. These two will be covered in that video. Manage server, manage users, and manage to the remote servers, credentials, backup and recovery, shell scripting. We'll see now. Now, see, let us give one how to create users and how can we manage them. Okay. Now, let me create one user for you. User add, user add hyphen m hyphen d home. Give the username as DevOps user one. Space DevOps user one, right? Okay, enter. Now, what if I want to get inside that user? Okay, for that only we have something. Okay, let me give here. Let me discuss about this also. Meanwhile, I have managed the users. I have created some users. Now, I'm going to talk about this password-based authentication here. I'm going to give some password for this user. Okay. What if I created some password and another person want to log into this as this user inside that as that user I have created some data or some files over there. And what if I forgot my password and I have shared with someone? He have the capability. He can give the username su followed by su. No, meanwhile, let me create this password first for that. Give command PAWD followed by DevOps username. DevOps username. It's asking for password. Let me give one password. Enter. It will going to ask for retype. Say, give the same password. Success. See, it is a password authentication. Even though if I share this password with another person, he can have that. He can also have the access to use this account, okay, as a owner for that user. What is the data I created inside that as a that user, okay, not as a root user. Okay, and how we can get inside that means give command su DevOps user one, enter. Here, see, now if you observe here, the display is appearing only with the dollar symbol. What if I want to expand it? I can use command like bash dash. See, if I use this dash command, it extended. You command ls. See, it's reverted the data which I created as a root user only. Now let me exit from here. Okay. I will tell you this also here. No. I will execute it as a root user only. Exit. Exit. Yeah, now I am as a root user. Now what I going to do means what about this key-based authentication? Using this key-based authentication only, we're going to establish the connection between the client and server. How we going to use means we have command like ssh hyphen key chain, right? Enter. Enter. Okay. Now you command ls, right? This is where we can create. See, we have created key-based authentication. I have given SSH keychain. If I give SSH, wait. So you can SSH hyphen key brain. Oh, and yes, overwrite it. Yes, the okay. It's not that updated over here. Let me take duplicate tab here. Now it's going here. It will be updated because of some issues it having. Let me get into root user hyphen I. Now I am as a root user. Let me clear it. Let me get into Jenkins and this is the directory I have inside my Jenkins directory. You and ls. Yeah, it's not updated here. Let it be. Based on that keying, we're going to establish the connection between client and server. We will going to have both public key and private key. We're going to copy this public key. Then we're going to give it as a password for that uh, for a server. Then we're going to establish from client to server, establish connection between client and server. Then if you talk about here, we have something called here password authentication token. Token based authentication is mostly using in GitHub repositories. Okay, to move our data or source code from the IDE platform to GitHub repository. I will show you while I am making some videos on Git. And if you talk about here, if you talk about here, I'm going to show about this self scripting something. Okay, backup and recovery. You can have it has the capability to backup and recovery. Passwordless authentication. Here, see, I'll be getting one home directly for lib where Jenkins Jenkins cd lib where Jenkins it is cd where that's what I'm see. This is inside this, we have something called secrets, updates, user control, users, nodes, plugins. We can check what are the plugins I have installed. See, using this, I have launched the using this port instance. I have launched my, I have logged in as a Jenkins user. I will show you that also. See here, let me get into users. Into my tablet. Here, see, if you observe here, I have my name g.v.dileep 98 because I have login as a g.v.dileep 98 in the user in the Jenkins. That's why it's showing as here as a Jenkins user. This user as in my name. If you want, I can show you that also. Later, I will show you. Here, what are the jobs we have performed? CD jobs. Not that because I haven't performed any jobs. That's why it's not showing anything. Let me get into some photo like secrets. Nothing. Secrets. Yeah. Nothing here present. Okay. Let me clear it. Okay. Here we have something called. Yeah. We get that secrets. Secrets. Yes. Yes. Yeah. People India. Okay. Now what we're going to do means we're going to see some self scripting here. How self scripting we're going to work here means. Now let me get into as a way editor. I'm going to create a script one dot sh script one sh. Go to insert mode. I'm going to create one script here. Then okay. See why I'm getting it. As in, now give it as bash. Bash bash. Okay. Now enter. We can take hash echo and I will give some message. I have created one file here. Okay. Now I will create one other file here. Echo. Be honest. Now click on escape semicolon followed by W and I have saved it. Now let me give fat followed by file name which I created script dot sh. See The message which I created inside that VI editor, it's displayed here. This is how the shell scripting is going to work. If you want, I can show you another example for it. See, it's already too late. We can't tell all the things of Linux in one class because let's see big topic we have to discuss about. Linux is very big topic. Show you another simple one. Yeah. You want to get any name? Your numbers, shell scripting, how is shell scripting going to work? See, these are some shell scripts. How if you going to if you give any character like A, E, I, O, U, it going to print that whether the given number is a vowel or not. If we give one other than the vowels like B, G, it won't say that it is not a vowel in that way. It's going to say it is automation process, right? As we have discussed it. See here also oceans are larger than lakes. True or false. If you give command based on that, it's going to give the output. And here we have something called string arrow and the prime numbers, and then you can calculate the numbers between them. This is the way we can use shell scripting. Okay, I'm showing the examples. These are some examples for shell scripting. Okay, I hope I have explained you very well. But it is a very big topic. We can't conclude it in a single day, in a single class. It is a very big topic. Okay, thank you. Okay, can stop my screen sharing.